introduction. My name is Sheere Mitchell. I'm wearing two hats today. The first is the ASTA, which is the American Society of Travel Advisors president for Portugal, as well as the president and founder of Immersive Global, a boutique DMC based in Lisbon. So I know we've had a long afternoon and we have many other presentations still to go. So we're going to run through this really quickly. If there's any information you guys would like for me to expound on a little later, I'm going to be at the conference for the duration, so just find me and we can talk. All right, so I just need the clicker. We are going to discuss leveraging the power of influence. So an area that I have been trying to figure out within the DMC and tour operator space since the duration of the pandemic has been what influence, or what can we do in our ecosystem to be able to promote sustainable tourism, and specifically for companies that specialize in luxury travel. So for the context of this presentation, we're going to use the definition of sustainable tourism that's provided by the United Nations World Tourism Organization. I'm pretty sure we're all pretty familiar with that, so we'll just run through. And as I mentioned, this is a pretty ambitious presentation because I'm wearing two hats and I'm going to be speaking to you all from the perspective of ASTA, the American Society of Travel Advisors, as well as from a private company within the ecosystem of tourism in Portugal. So let's get started. If we were to speak with our friends at the National Tourism Board in Portugal about their plan for sustainable tourism, they would tell us that they're looking to affirm tourism as a hub for economic, social, and environmental development throughout the territory, positioning Portugal as one of the most competitive and sustainable tourism destinations in the world. This is coming directly from the National Tourism Authority. We would also learn that they are working on a very comprehensive strategy for tourism in Portugal, which is multi-phased strategy that's called Estratégia Turismo 2027, or the strategy for tourism 2027. And within that strategy, there are three sustainability indicators that are worth mentioning. The first is economic growth in a sustainable fashion, obviously, social inclusiveness, and environmental management. And this is directly from Visit Portugal, or Turismo Portugal. Now, if you're interested in learning more about Portugal's national strategy for tourism, you can read the full document that's on their website in Portuguese. If you don't speak Portuguese, you can find a really good summary, 3 minutes long, on YouTube that's in English. Sorry, we're having a little difficulty with the clicker here. So now I'm switching hats to the president and founder of Immersive Global, a boutique DMC and tour operator based in Lisbon. And for those of you all in the room who are operators, this information will be very familiar to you. We work mainly with the US market. As you can probably tell, I'm actually American myself. And we serve what we would consider the luxury travel segment in Portugal. Now, out of our three-tiered approach, probably the most important one would be our acronym SAFE, which stands for Safety, Authenticity, Flexibility, and Exclusivity. And these are the main elements that are present in every single program that we create and all of the products that we produce. So if we were to look at our typical client profile for Immersive Global, they're all high net worth Americans. The average salary is $125,000 USD per year. And the age range is between 35 and 75, which is pretty vast, but they all have the following elements in common. They take about 2.5 trips a year. These are all pre-COVID stats, by the way. And their trips usually last about 7 days long, and the price point for a per-person double occupancy product is about $4,500. This does not include air, and it does not include all of their meals. And they all mention that they have no time to plan travel, and they're looking for something fun and exciting. Next, please. So now we're going to take all those elements.
You don't really know a country.
So now we'll take all the elements that we just previously discussed, and you're going to see what that looks like on the ground in Portugal. Video, please.
You don't really know a country until you truly understand its soul.
My name is Sheere Mitchell. I'm inviting you to the most exclusive, the most unique, the most authentic travel experience to the very heart and soul of Portugal. Portugal.
A tailor-made cultural experience where the best-kept secrets are meant to be discovered, enjoyed, treasured. Hand-picked places, highly curated local experiences, in a heart-driven European destination.
Trendy, elegant, fun.
This is the absolute best side of Portugal. A journey personally designed for you to truly travel, connect, experience.
Welcome home to Portugal. So for those of you all in the ecotourism and sustainable tourism space, you can probably imagine that in order to produce these types of products for the clients that I've described that we work with, there's a lot of waste involved. So now let's talk about the Sustainable Tourism Initiative. We have, just click please. These are our red flags that we deal with on a regular basis, and we don't really have any immediate solutions for them because the clients that we work with expect to have single-use plastic cold water available every hour during their day tours and in their hotel rooms. They expect all of the other areas of comfort that are promoted with these types of programs. So, click please. The question has been, for me personally, as I work in this particular luxury tourism space, during COVID, when we've all had the opportunity to just sit still and think about what our industry means, what are the things that we can do to help make it better, there have been two really important components that we've heard over and over again. The United Nations World Tourism Organization and many other organizations have talked about digitalization, innovation, and sustainable tourism. So, next please. And trying to figure out how is it that someone in the luxury travel space is actually able to work as a catalyst or a proponent, a supporter for sustainable tourism. I didn't really have an answer until I came across this particular flow chart, and of course I took it Harvard last year. And it basically showed where the flow of information happens between a destination management company or a tour operator and where the flow of services go. So for some of you all who've been in the industry for quite some time, this is not new, but it was kind of a paradigm shift for me. And I realized that, click please, right here in the middle, there's a sweet spot for tour operators who actually work as brokers. If you think of it in a business sense, we have our clients on one side and we have our suppliers on the other. So the question is, how are we able to promote or to encourage sustainable tourism on both sides of that? Next, please. Next, please. So that gave way to a new program that we've implemented, and this, of course, we're talking about the case of Portugal specifically, but what I'm going to describe is applicable to any destination, any region, any country, and it is IG for Good. In this case, it's Immersive Global for Good. And we have three main objectives with the program. Now, this is all behind-the-scenes operations, but it's something that we are able to bring forward to our clients and help them understand what sustainable tourism options are available in the country. So the first is to use our international platform to highlight upscale sustainable tourism. And we're still having to use the term upscale sustainable tourism for reasons that a lot of you in the luxury travel space, I'm sure you understand. And for number two, we want to provide our clients with sustainable options. Once again, I work mainly with the US market, and the conversation about sustainable tourism isn't nearly as far advanced as it is in Europe. So we still have clients that are well-traveled and well-educated who've never even seen the chart of the 17 SDGs. And then, number three, to continue to promote the United Nations 17 SDGs. Next, please. So unfortunately, we don't have time to go over the client journey with IG for Good, but it's important for you to understand that the most important thing is to start having the conversation about the possibility of finding sustainable travel options within your destination. So as soon as clients reach out to you to express interest in coming to your destination, or to express interest in having a conversation about what's available, that's when you're able to ask, are you interested in learning more about the sustainable options in Portugal, or wherever your destination is? Next, please. So in these last few minutes that I have, I'm going to give you a couple of examples of our suppliers in Portugal who are actually working towards the Sustainable Development Goals. And this is a really upscale wine resort down in the Alentejo, which happens to be south of Lisbon and north of the Algarve. It's called Porto Palma. Next, please. And in having a conversation with the owners and the general manager of this property, they mentioned all of these different programs that they've implemented in their the village where this particular property is located, and they are actually creating lots of touch points with different SDGs. So the owners of the property are very philanthropic, and it was really important for them to be able to give back to the community in which they work. We don't have time to go over all of these, but you have an idea of some of the things that they may be working on. Next, please. The next was with one of Portugal's superstar chefs, Chef Pedro Mendes, who happens to be in upscale food service. And next, please. He's working on a couple of really neat projects that also have strong touch points with the SDGs. Now, what's the importance of this? We are basically taking this information from our suppliers and we're telling our clients, these are some of the options that you have when you come to our destination. You'll be able to interact and most importantly support these suppliers who are working towards these goals. It gives us the opportunity to talk about SDGs with our clients in the US, and it also gives us the opportunity to continue to promote these amazing projects in Portugal. And this particular chef, really quickly, has a zero waste policy in his kitchen, which basically means that they are very sensitive about the amount of food that they purchase, the amount of food that they prep on a daily basis, and the amount of food that they serve. And if there's anything that's left over at the end of the day, it's divided up amongst the staff members so that they can enjoy it at home. Next, please. And just some images from the specific SDGs that they're working on. Next, please. Next. And lastly, we have this beautiful property that is about an hour northwest of Lisbon, and it's called Areias do Seixo. And what they are working on, next please, is a boutique hotel. They've had sustainability at the core since the very beginning. And some of the things that they're working on are beach cleanup, it's coastal, and they also have a very unique policy. They have no air conditioning units at all in the hotel. This is a property where it costs about 350 to 400 euros a night for a basic room. So they obviously cater to an upscale clientele, but they don't have air conditioning units. So it's still a little difficult for us at Immersive Global to be able to sell because our clients are very used to having complete control over their temperature in their rooms, but it's yet another concept and something that we're hoping we'll have more interest in being able to sell in the future. Next. And so, fortunately, IG for Good has gotten the attention of travel media. I was interviewed by Forbes, and they specifically wanted to know what does better tomorrow look like for you, and that's when I had the chance to talk about this, with the hopes of being able to give this message and this concept to more tour operators and destination management companies in the luxury tourism space. Next, please. And so here we are. If anyone is interested in reaching out and having this conversation about IG for Good and the client journey that we didn't get a chance to go over in detail, I am readily accessible and I'll be here at the conference for the entire time. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time, and thank you to the organizers for inviting me.